Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back from another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're taking the new ESO and KIKU into Revolutionary Army 2 with two teams to sort of showcase the newest legend that has released on both global and Japan OPTC. I do apologize about the video, I'm super tired at the moment, but I still wanted to get this out because treasure map's on its way. I mean, it's super busy over the weekend and stuff like that, but I did want to sort of get out the content for ESO and KIKU to show you guys what this new character can actually do. It's really hard when treasure map characters, legends come out, and you pull them, because you want to showcase them, but then treasure map's coming, and it's just such a weird time. But in today's video, I do have a shooter-centric team, I should say, and then a slasher-centric team for the new ESO and KIKU, because they are a shooter and a slasher-based leader, as well as being a quick super typing. But if you guys do enjoy the video, don't forget to belt the like button. As always, if you are new or you haven't done so already, belt the big red subscribe button for me. 55% of you guys haven't done so, so help a brother out. Hit the subscribe button, demolish the like button. Enjoy the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Alright, so we're going to kick it off with the shooter-based team. So this is the team. Those are the supports. Let's dive in. Now, I did keep Wadja the same for both teams, mainly because Wadja's just an absolute weapon. Their switchability is just going to be so good moving forward for so much content. Plus, it is a super type trigger for ESO and KIKU. So that was sort of my staple for both of these teams. Shooters obviously don't have as many options as slashers do as well. But they did have Dofi. Now, Dofi's really, really good for this particular fight, as Dofi can remove resilience, and he can actually remove defense up in threshold, which is really, really good for the Morley stage, thanks to the Bellamy support. So shooters do have some good units, but they probably are still are. Them and fighters are probably still the lowest spectrum when it comes to the actual class building teams. But the beautiful thing about ESO and KIKU is they can abuse slashes as well. The downside to their kit is obviously you want to try and build a team that has 5 slashes and 5 shooters. That way you can try and maximize getting all of the Wano slots. But the unit was kind of designed very similar to Halloween Shanks. It's very wonky in the sense of you can either do this or you can do that, and the whole character doesn't really synergize with itself. Captain ability wise though, ESO and KIKU actually work ridiculously well. Their special honestly isn't too bad. 3 turns of a chainlock is never really terrible, especially when it's a 3.5 times chainlock. The beautiful thing about the chainlock, as you see on this particular stage, is you can actually carry it into the next stage and it won't get wiped away from stuff like red haki, regular haki, and all that sort of stuff. But they also extend an orb boost by 2 turns. Now that may or may not be beneficial moving forward. The fact that it's just the orb boost is kind of a bit why to me. But it's definitely not bad, right? Works really, really good under stuff all alongside something like Carrot and Wanda. But at the end of the day, if you get hit by red haki or you get hit by that white haki, you will lose that carryover effect that they can provide. But it's very nice to see that their chainlock actually doesn't. The Wano orb actually works really, really well for this particular piece of content as well. And as you guys see there, utilizing the pudding special, having pudding in the bottom row to remove the despair and the bind, also rotates all of our orbs to whatever orb pudding actually has. It actually works really, really nicely for this particular piece of content because we can actually give ourselves a full board of Wano slots. Because we are running 2 ESO and KIKUs, we can actually keep the Wano slots on our captain. So when we move into this stage against Koala and Sabo, when they lock our orbs, we can actually give ourselves back a full board of Wano slots, and we can actually keep them for the next few turns, which is pretty nice. It's a pretty nice little shenanigan that you can actually do with this particular unit. It's not something that you'll probably see all the time, but once you do know the content and what's in front of you, units that come out nowadays are going to be pretty strong no matter what. It's all about sort of how you build the team after that. Would I say this character is very strong? I guess. Would I say they're a chaseable unit? Definitely not. Probably the worst legend to release in 2022 so far. Definitely. But that doesn't make them bad. No unit that comes out nowadays is bad, because we have access to crazier units that can just make them shine. Plus, the content cycle has been pretty, slow drip. So, we know, how to, take this stage down. Now, don't get me wrong, there's other characters that can do it better, I guess. And I do have another team that's kind of, to come out with ESO and, Carrot Wanda that actually does this in, less than 5 minutes. So, be on the lookout for that, because that team was really, really fun. I'll probably upload it, not long after this video, to be honest. Because that team was really cool. It does it very, very easily. It's probably one of the most fun teams I've done for Revolutionary Army 2 in a little while. But ESO and KIKU, they actually do this fight really, really well because they have paralysis built into their kit. having paralysis built into the captain ability is really nice, especially for a piece of content like Dofi 2, for Revolutionary Army 2, which paralysis is pretty prevalent. Unfortunately for quick super typings, they've already had like a paralysis remover, right? They've got Magellan. Now, would I say that ISO and KIKU is better than Magellan? Like, definitely, like 100%. But like, there is going to be situations where Magellan is going to work better, and like, if you're coming up against paralysis based content and you need a quick leader, you can easily hybrid the two of them up, right? So the fact that they've given paralysis to another quick unit when something like Sai is missing it. I know we've got a lot of good strong Sai characters. Sai didn't need the buff as much as Quick did, but I wouldn't really say that this is what Quick needed to make the color better. It's interesting, but it doesn't make Quick better, I suppose. It doesn't make them worse, but it doesn't make them better. So, IZU KIKU, interesting unit, and does Revolutionary Army 2 pretty well, so that's where I want to showcase them best. It's hard for me to gas this unit up, because I don't really think this unit is, like, that insanely powerful, to be honest, or it's that insanely, like, worthwhile. But, if you are trying this particular team, it does work very nicely. Dofi is Limit Break expanded, so just be mindful of that. But, if you don't have your Dofi Limit Break expanded, you can easily just take an extra turn on the Belly stage. Like, that should work absolutely hunky-dory as well. But, nevertheless, with the support of the new Cat Viper as well, we can actually get around Threshold, which is awesome. You can easily use the Hina support on, Whitebeard and Roger if you have that as well. That's another option for you guys to remove the 2 turns of Threshold here. And getting through Karasu's HP, just with the 2 IZU and KIKU, is actually really nice. So when you move to the final stage, you can actually just keep the Wano Orbs that they provide with their special and their super typing to allow you to take out Sabo Koala very easily. Literally just with that one pudding character down the bottom, doing all the damage for us thanks to the attack and the orb boost that Dofi can provide for shooter characters as well. So the shooter-based team did work fairly nicely. I don't think it runs as smoothly as like the slasher builds are going to be for ISO and KIKU, but it is nice to see that shooters now, besides just Boa and Ace, have another option in terms of their leader. But let's move on to the slasher sort of comp now, and let's have a bit further discussion about this particular unit. Alright, so onto the slasher build now. The team looks a little bit like this. So that is the team. Those are the supports. Let's dive in. Now, if you guys don't have that Cat Viper support, as I mentioned, you can use Hina on Whitebeard and Roger. That is definitely an option to get around the threshold on, what stage is it? Stage 9. And that way you can do this a little bit quicker. And if you don't have that Cat Viper support, you will need to get around threshold somehow. A really good way of doing that is actually bringing Red Lord, the one that came out alongside V2 Snake Man. He actually has access to Beppo, who's another character that can actually remove threshold as well. I did want to showcase this Cat Viper support, because I do think the new Cat Viper, Treasure Map Cat Viper, and Treasure Map Dogstorm both have very, very, very good supports, which we'll see play moving forward. That ability to remove like defense up, threshold, damage reduction with a perfect is very valuable, and giving us a Treasure Map Rare Recruit, it's a very, very good option just to see them like see more play, especially for stuff like Cat Dog. They don't really have too many like amazing units in the game, and they can attach on to characters like what's his name, like Roger, Whitebeard, all those like crazy units. So pretty cool. They give them some pretty crazy effects. But as I mentioned, if you don't have them, you can use Red Law instead of Atmos. And Red Law can get around your Bind and your Despair, as well as getting around that threshold as well. But before we do talk about Slasher sort of comp for this particular team, something else I wanted to note was that ISO and KIKU being shooter-based captains, it kind of conflict of interest in the sense of not only do they conflict with Magellan being the quick paralysis remover in their kit, but they also have to compete with, obviously, Verse Ace, who's, like, by far the best shooter captain, but also Halloween Boa. Halloween Boa sort of flies under the radar. She's another quick super typing, and then to give another quick super typing shooter character, it just doesn't really compute for me. I understand, like, they need to sort of balance out, like, where they are boosting colors and stuff, but this particular character, being a treasure map character as well, is just not a sought-after unit. For most players anyway, but if you do really like KIKU, if you really like ISO, and you are happy to see them get a legend, let me know in the comment section below. And while you're down there, don't forget to belt the like button for me, hit the big red subscribe button as well, because they do this content really, really well, and they actually do it really, really nicely. But in saying that, as I mentioned, a lot of other characters do this content very nicely as well, and honestly, that's not really a downfall to the character itself. It's more of a downfall to the content cycle in the sense that, well, there hasn't really been that much more challenging content for us to really push these characters to the limits. It's kind of at the point where we've sort of been given a Ferrari or a Lamborghini and said, go nuts, drive as fast as you want, but then had like a big sign that says like 40 kilometers per hour where you kind of can't do that, you know? Or they've given us a road that just has a bunch of different turns, so you have to slow down at particular points. It is what it is. And I did want to show IZU and KIKU anyway, obviously being the newest legend. But the fact that they have Slasher in their kit does help them out immensely. Slashers have been getting, low-key, crazy amounts of buffs for a very long time now. Like ever since Roger and Odin, like V1 came out, Slashers have been flying under the radar with some pretty disgustingly strong units. You've had stuff like, obviously, Roger and Odin, both very, very strong Slasher characters. And then if you fast forward to now, we have the new Odin, we have the new Kinemon and Denjiro, we have this new IZU and KIKU. We've had stuff like Whitebeard and Roger. Slashers have just been getting buff after buff after buff, and they have just been working very, very nicely for quite a very long time now. So it's nice to see that Slashers have had like some serious support, and honestly have been becoming one of the best classes in the entire game. Obviously, Free Spirit and Cerebral have been up there for a very long time, and Free Spirit still holds a very, very high standard of being very powerful, but I do think Slashers now is actually the strongest class in the entire game. With the release of Whitebeard and Roger, with the release of Superclass Odin, and V1 Roger still being a thing, you can get that hybrid of Superclass and Super Type. I think when Free Spirit get their Superclass leader, whether that's a Luffy, whether that's something else, I do think Free Spirit like can still like be the strongest class in the game, or arguably still is the strongest class in the game. We've also had stuff like Toki come out, who, in my opinion, is the most valuable character in the entire game anyway. Roger and Whitebeard, obviously, with their amazing switch ability, makes the Slashers very, very powerful because you can slap them on any Slasher team. And they have a lot of utility. There's a lot of Slashers in the game. Obviously, Zoro being a very prevalent Slasher. Mihawk being a very prevalent Slasher. Verse Shanks, another very strong Slasher leader. Base stat booster as well. So you have a lot of very, very good options when it comes to the Slasher class. And it's very easy to build these particular teams. If you have the Hina support too, by the way, you can go absolutely AWOL. Or actually, no, you kind of need the Whitebeard Roger special at the end there. I was going to say you can use Whitebeard Roger and the Hina support, but probably best to save that so you have the damage output. But like, if you guys have a different variation of this team, let me know in the comment section below as well, because I would love to know more. I kind of didn't really have too much motivation to build for this particular character, but I still wanted to get a video out for you guys, showcasing what this character can do before Treasure Map comes. Because like the content, when a Treasure Map Legend comes out, it's hard to sort of showcase them, because like Treasure Map comes out, and like everyone's playing Treasure Map. Everyone wants to see Treasure Map content, like to help them do Treasure Map. And then like by the end of Treasure Map, no one wants to look at OPTC content anyway, right? Because you've been playing Treasure Map for the last 3 days, and like, screw that. Because like Treasure Map just burns everyone out. But we're going to wrap it up with this beautiful special of IZU and KIKU, the siblings that that stand the test of time, I guess. But if you guys do enjoy the video, as I mentioned, smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the big red subscribe button as well. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Let's!